Hello, y'all on YouTube. This is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review impressions of a knife. This is the Hypercut Bikkhu. Someone allowed me to look at this and loan it to me and wanted me to check it out, so I already did the unboxing. This is my review impressions. Let's take a look. All right, today I'm looking at the Hypercut Bikkhu knife. This is made in the USA knife as a custom knife made by Hypercut Knives, which is made here in the United States. Awesome little knife right here. This particular one is serial number 35. This unique design is definitely something different for me. The gentleman who makes these knives makes a lot of variants, and I've seen a few other ones that are a little more my aesthetic, but definitely the quality is outstanding. Now, this knife had some modifications. The gentleman put a little tab on here, so he could make it a flipper. Well, he did that. He disassembled it. It came off a little off center, and he said he might not, it might not be exactly centered. So he said, hey, feel free to take it apart and put it back together. So based on his email and his permission, I'm going to do that. So let's do a little bit of that. Let's take it apart and let's see if we can, maybe swap out the washers and see if that fixes some things. So anytime you do that, you always want to have good parts, like Bikkhu. I'm thinking about Bikkhu, right? Bikkhu, the Weeha stubby driver, and you want to have some Weeha bits, some quality bits. And I believe this is going to be it's T15 or T20. Let's try the T15 first. There's a T10. Let's see if it's a T10. Feels a little big. All right, let's try a T15. That's a T10. These are all T10s right here? Oh yeah, these are all T10s. Let's go to T15 right here. So here is a, oh, can't see that. There we go, T15. All right, let's see if it's a T15. Still feels a little big. Could this be a T20? There's a T20. Let's see if this is a T20. No, it's got to be a T15. All right, so T15 on there. Let's see what these guys are. These guys T8s or T10s? So that feels like a T8. T8 for sure. So those are T8s. And then this one here is going to be a T15. All right, so this happens to be a DeWalt drill bit, which is also a good quality one to have as well. All right, so let's go ahead and start taking this apart. When you do that, you always want to make sure, oops, this is the T15. We're going to do the pivot first. No, let's do the body screws first. I like to do that first. All right, so here we go. Make sure it's nice and even in there, 90 degrees, perpendicular. So I'll put these in there. All right, now I'll swap out the drivers. I don't know if this is likely not captive, so I might have to get another driver here in just a second. Oh, no, looks like I can actually release it. Good. Here's the blade. Here's the washer. All right, let me get my sheet over here. So we're going to do a review of this, but first we're going to, kind of take this apart a little bit and look at this. All right, so here we have the track going right across here. Is there a little ramp? No, not really. Not really a ramp there. You can see where it goes. This is where he drilled it to put in the little flipper. All right, I love these thumb studs, by the way. That's really, really cool. Does this come out? It does. All right, so it looks like there's no washers in here. It's right on titanium, so when you do that, you got to be careful. Make sure you're very careful and cautious. Now, I believe he said that this comes with Skiff washers, so let's take a look at these. Are these Skiff washers? You can usually tell right away. What is this? Maybe they're dirty. Maybe that's why it is. Okay. It just felt light. It felt kind of light for some reason. It's weird. Just clean them up, see what happens. Feel how that rolls. Oh, that's better. That actually rolls a lot better. Must have been some stuff in there. Maybe that was causing some of the issues. Sometimes you can get, I mean, I'll tell you what it looked like. It looked like Loctite or something. That's what it looked like. It probably wasn't, but that's what it looked like to me. Could be wrong, but maybe that got in there. Well, he did do some drilling stuff. Maybe he had some materials. Maybe he used, I don't know. I don't know how you do that. So he must have had some vice grip or something to hold it in place and do the drilling and that. But okay, that rolls a lot better. Okay. I do like to make sure stuff like that is absolutely cleaned. All right, so that is a carbonized titanium scale inset. All right, so part of it is held in place by, part of it's held in place by the pivot over here. And then, so that also acts sort of like a pivot collar. Very cool. Just gonna clean all that out. Nice. And there's the screw for the hidden hardware there. And that locks the scale in the back. And the scale is held in front by the screw. So, very cool. All right. All right, let's go ahead and put this back together. So it comes from this side. Typically, and that's why I always open it where the lock bar is. Typically, this is glued. This side here might have super glue or Loctite, the other version of Loctite that holds it permanently. So before we do that, let me go and get some more tools here. We're going to put a little oil in there. Just ever so slightly. What happened over here? Uh-oh. My sticker got rolled off. It's such an old bottle. Look at this. It says good to 11/23. Yeah, come on. Who uses their stuff only that long? All right, we'll move that over. It's weird. All right. Get a little oil here. 85 weight nano oil. This is the 85 weight. I use that on the where is it? On the detent ball and the detent track of the knife over here. You want a heavier, higher viscosity oil on that one. And then the 10 weight I use where the cage bearings are. You want a lower viscosity, okay? Like automatics, you would use 5 weight typically because you want the very lightest viscosity on automatic. You don't want it to be a heavy oil that builds up at all. So I put a little oil in here. Some people believe in very, 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 very minimal oil. You know, the action is much better. Let's feel this one. Sometimes if your alignment is not perfect, what it can also be is just reassembled a knife. Sometimes it's not sitting correctly, and that can happen too, right? So in this case, I don't know if that's the case, but we will try that. Before I do that, let me put a little oil on here where the track is. Now, I don't know if he wants Loctite on there. If you do, you know, you want to make sure you don't have too much oil around that. You want to make sure it's nice and dry. I reverse thread it to hear click, and then I go in. That way I'm not cross-threading it and stripping the threads. So just till it's tight, now we're going to put the rest of these on. I like to clean these screws off as well. That's a little better. So I tighten it just to the point where there's no blade play. All right, so this has one of those where I can't really catch it because it's going right here, and I want to be able to catch that, which for me is a little frustrating thing about fidgeting. And then I'm catching over here, I got to clear that part. So when I do that, it's still, let's see. Yeah, that's one of those things for me. If I fidget with a knife, it's kind of frustrating. All right, it's better. It's still a little to the right. There is a way to fix that, and we can do that real quick. what you do is you untighten all the body screws. You don't have to take them off. You untighten all of that. Now it's leaning right, so what you do is you take a piece of paper, you put it right in there where it's pushing the blade left. Then you tighten the pivot first. Then you tighten the body screws. And there you are. Now we're centered. Let's get this nice and where it needs to be. Yep. So I got to clear this lock bar over here without touching that part. That's where I'm having trouble. I keep touching it because I got big old meaty fingers, right? So my big old meaty fingers, when I'm here, if you can see this, I'm pushing, it's touching, and that's why it's not moving, right? So I got to clear it down low like this, and then it clears it. You see that? And then I got to move my finger here, and then we're nice and clear. So that's my challenge with a knife like this. Now it's beautifully dead nut centered, just like we want it. So at this point, I would put a little Loctite on there. I feel like if you want to keep that pivot in the right spot, the best thing would be I'm going to put just a touch of Loctite on there. That's all I'm going to do. Just a hair. No blade play. Man, I have big old giant meaty fingers. Every time I want to touch that. If I clear it like this, then it drops perfectly, right? This knife is not made for meaty fingers. I'll just tell you that. So if I'm up here, I'm fine. The problem is I wanted my meaty finger here because then I would catch it like that. But I'm too close to this. So yeah, and I'm rubbing against it. So, and to clear it, get past it, it gets down here and then it starts to cut my finger. This is one of those knives that, you know, that to me, it's important to be able to fidget, right? Yeah, there we go. Drops nicer, I think. And the flipper here, I can easily flip it now. So, you know, before when I did this, it would stop like down here. So watch this, just a nice gentle flick, just gentle. It flips now. Then I can do a finger knuckle like that. And I bet I can even, can I? Well, if I can get there enough. Can I get there? Yeah, I can. I can do the reach around. So you can do the reach around here. Ready? Like that. Not super convenient for my short, meaty fingers, but it's possible. See? There we go, like that. You can do the knuckle and the thumb. Oops, like that. The thumbs work really nicely. Reverse works really nicely. And it drops like it should, right? And I'll keep breaking in just ever so nicely. No blade play. That's what we want. Dead nut center. That's what we want. All right. You always want a knife that's nice and centered. I might actually have to throw this Loctite out and use a different one. The sticker started coming off. Got all ooey gooey and stuff, which is unfortunate, and you can't even see it anymore. Yeah, we might just have to toss that. You guys get to see me pull out my brand new bottle, and you can actually see what it says, what the label actually says. Here's what the label actually says. Loctite 242. This is the one you want right here. Loctite 242. Oh, and you know what I never put? I never put any of the 85 weight oil on the detent ball. And that makes a huge difference too. Wow, we should do that. Let's see. Put a little drop on there. I would have put it on the detent track too, but I didn't. Just a little drop. Yeah, definitely not for big meaty fingers. I'm glad there are other models. I was talking to some other folks who have different models, and they were saying, you know, they thought I might enjoy a different model differently because it's meaty finger friendly. This one is not as meaty finger friendly, sadly. But it was cool to try out, for sure, right? I mean, it was really cool to get a chance to experience. But all right, so that was what we're going to do. Let me put this scope doesn't go in there because I already have one in there. I have a couple of those. All right, so what we're going to do next, so that was part one. That was just cleaning it out, centering it, seeing if that would fix it. So we did. We cleaned it out. We centered it. We put a little Loctite in there in the pivot at least. And now we have some nice action. It does close a little bit better now. You can see that. And it does flip open much nicer. It doesn't have that resistance like it had before. It's still very much a control drop shut. So you're not doing guillotine here. We're not Grimsmo knife action here, right? We're not Herman Sting sort of action on this one at all, but we're nice and centered. Are we staying centered? I think we are. So there you go. I like that. Cool. All right. So part two, the review. All right, so we're going to look at this here. All right, so we talked about the knife. The knife name is the Bikkhu. The knife manufacturer is Hypercut. The designer is the gentleman from Hypercut. I don't know the person's name. I really wish I did. I don't know if it's on the box. Is it on the box here anywhere? It is not. I don't know folks as well. I know the company. It's my first experience with it, right? So until you really know the company, like I didn't know Craig Brown until I had a couple of his knives. But definitely a really nice USA made knife. Now this is what I was expecting when I first got it. This is so much smoother. Yeah, much glassier. Much glassier. Nice roll. Yeah, there's definitely something on those cage bearings because that's night and day. Night and day. Night and day. All right. And it's nice and dead nut centered now because that's what we want. Yeah, is it? Let's look here. Yep, it is. The tip looks like it's a little longer in this one than this one. That's why it keeps throwing me off. But if you look at the overall blade itself, it is centered. It's the tip that's, I wonder, is that tip a little longer on one side than the other? No. It's actually really nicely done. I hope it's not shifting back over to the right. Well, you could do that again. You can do that centering trick again if you wanted to. But it's definitely much, much better. I like this. Very cool. All right. Knife materials, titanium scales, titanium inlays. We took that apart. You saw that. We've got a titanium backspacer, titanium deep mill, deep pocket carry clip. Rounded, no sharp edges. Rounded over here, chamfered. This is rounded, so there's no hot spots. When you open and close this, there's no little sharp spots over here. This is covered up for the most part. It's not super, super sharp. And you can feel it, but the clip, it's not going to be a pocket shredder. It is an inset liner lock. The liner lock is in here. It looks like you're gauged probably a good 10%. When you disengage it, you push it out like that. It does clear. It does have Skiff Caged ceramic ball bearings from what I could tell inside. That was really nice. Front flipper works nicely. The reverse thumb studs, front thumb studs work very nicely. It's got nice smooth buttery action again. Really nice. We got a Magnacut blade right here that has a beautiful hollow grind. It's got a swedge on top, sort of a faux swedge, designer swedge. It's got some jimping. Jimping, it sort of works. I mean, the thumb studs probably have more traction than that. I mean, it might be nicer. You can definitely choke up on this. Gives you plenty of room. I've got large hands with big meaty fingers, as you can see. Double extra large with big meaty fingers, triple extra large with big meaty fingers would have hand room. If you have if you have extra large hands with regular size fingers, this is about your grip right here. So, and if you have double extra large hands with thinner fingers, this is going to be about your grip. So you have plenty of room. Very, very nice. I like the chamfering here. There is easy access. It's relatively easy to get to. The issue that I have is my meaty finger. When I get in here, I'm touching this. As soon as I touch this, it slows down. And then this long little pokey flipper up here, this little fin thing, when I do that, my hand's usually right there. And so I'm trying to disengage it. My hand's right there, and it just comes up right where it's at. And so in order to get past that, I have to do this, but then it drops, and that blade comes down on my nail, and my thumb. I don't like that. So to me, that's like, you know, I have to do this, and I don't get knives that I have to do that. Knives that cut me are not part of my collection, right? So you've got to be some sort of special super knife or do something that avoids that. So that's just my 2 cents on that one. All right. Lock type, we talked about that, how it opens and closes. You've got the front flipper, you've got the thumb studs. The front flipper works really well. You can do the knuckle flick and everything. It's nice and smooth now. You can even do the reach around. You can come over here and do the reach around like that. So that works. If you have longer fingers, it's much, much easier. Trust me. I got short fingers, so. The blade is really nice. I like it. Beautiful satin finish. Nice ground satin finish. I like that. All right, let's do some measurements on this knife. Where's my scale? I'm going to guess about 4.5 ounces, maybe 5. I don't know. 3.7 ounces. Totally off. 3.7 ounces. So why do I feel like it's heavier? Let's see. Where's the center on this knife? Okay. All right. So the center's back here, and so now it feels relatively light. When you're up here, it does feel a little heavy, back heavy. So that kind of adds to it. Kind of turns a little bit. All right. So interesting, when you have a knife that's balanced, it always feels lighter. That's interesting. And especially if you choke up, you can really feel it back here. So it does feel heavier, even though it's not. It's got great, yeah, it does have, it does have weight relief because this is, the scales here. And I'm assuming this is made so you can put Damascus or maybe, carbon fiber or something like that, something fancy. I like the guide right here, by the way, to the thumb studs. I love guides that are right on. I saw that with Enrique Pena design when he did that. Really, really nice. Enrique Pena and Javi Garcia, one of my favorite, the Alacron. Would love to see a custom version of that, honestly, but there you go. And looks like we've progressed right back to where we were before, which is unfortunate. Oh, it did loosen up, so I didn't let the Loctite take. So we need to tighten that up. That's probably why. Okay. So, the thing about Loctite, you should let it sit for 24 hours, and I didn't. So let's do that real quick. Yeah, that's better. All right. So as I'm reviewing this, it's probably gonna travel a little bit again, unfortunately. But if I let it sit, it's gonna be like that. Action's really nice. I say it's really smooth. It did get back to nice and centered. So there you go. Length. That's what we're doing next. Sorry, I'm kind of, because I did a little maintenance on there just to kind of clean it up, and I think that really made a huge difference, by the way. So now we got 7 3/4 is the overall length of the knife. It's not considered, it's kind of a medium to large. It's a very smaller, large knife. Overall handle length, you've got just over, I would say, 3 7/8 of an inch. If you have the choke up position, you got 4.5 inches. And then you have overall length is 3.5 from the tip to the back of the blade, but actual cutting length is just under 3.5. I would say probably 3 3/16. So 3 3/16 is what you're going to have there. All right, let's look at the blade stock thickness. What are we dealing with here? It looks pretty thick. I'm going to say it's 140 thousandths. Let's see. 187 thousandths of an inch. We're almost in Medford territory. That is radically thick. That's a big boy. Just out of curiosity, I want to see how thin it gets at the top, because it goes to super thin up here. Yeah, it's a 71 thousandths of an inch, 72 thousandths of an inch. And then the very tip out here, we're at 44 thousandths of an inch. So it gets relatively thin, gets thinner and thinner. And then behind the edge thickness here, let me see if I can actually get to it. It's always a challenge. You got to look really close here. 46, this is only 23? Really? Doesn't seem right. All right, there we go. So we're looking at 17 thousandths of an inch behind the blade stock, which is not super thin, but it's a nice hollow grind. It does, for as thick as that blade is, it comes to a nice hollow grind, so it will be definitely a slicer. It's got a nice edge right there. So there you go. What category are we in? So what I understand is these knives can sell between $850 to $1,400. And so I think when you look at some of these pre-orders, they're about $850. So we're definitely in the custom mid-tech area. This is definitely a custom knife. I would consider it a custom knife. Some people only consider custom knives if you work them in a forge. So I don't know if I would do that. I was just kind of curious what is the edge thickness. All right, so that is definitely a lot higher. So let's see. So we're looking at about probably 25-degree angle. Really? Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're at a 25-degree angle. I mean, that's pretty It's a small angle, but it's definitely a sharp angle to aggressive angle, I think. But okay, interesting angle on there. I might, if I was my knife, I'd maybe consider reprofiling that or something, you know, just because that seems awfully high, you know, especially if it's Magnacut and treated at the right HRC, you probably get a whole lot more out of that. So interesting. All right. Definitely takes away, I think, that high angle grind from the ability to really cut well with it, I think. Just my 2 cents. But what do I know? It's not my knife. I don't know the manufacturer, so maybe there's something I don't know here. But really nice. I mean, in that regard, definitely not my aesthetic. I'll say that much. All right, so we talked about what is this? What's the purpose of this? Is it EDC? Is it hard use? A collection piece? Probably very much a collection piece at that price range for sure. And for that aesthetic, it's very much going to be somebody who's a collector of this style, maybe this manufacturer. I would say, could you EDC it? Absolutely. I would say any knife you own, you could EDC, and you should probably, to fully enjoy it. That's just my 2 cents on it. But, you know, you do what you want. You can have safe queens and do whatever you want with your collection. Is it hard use? I think this could probably be hard use. The ergonomics and the geometry of this knife aren't conducive for my hard use, but it probably could work for someone with longer, thinner, skinnier fingers. Don't have big old meaty paws like me. Probably works a little bit better for them. So there you go. Overall design, handles, opening, closing, texture, jimping, lanyard, all that good stuff. There's no lanyard. It's got some nice rounded corners, nothing really sharp. It's this is a little sharp here, but that's hidden by the bolster. It's a inset, technically. You know, I said it's an inset liner lock. I was completely wrong. So I gotta go back and correct that. This is a frame lock. It's a bolstered frame lock. What the heck am I talking about? This is a bolstered frame lock. So I'm going to correct that beginning of the video. This is a bolstered frame lock. All right, so there you go. But, you know, disengagement is okay. It works. You can get in there. It's all right as long as you don't get big, meaty fingers. The flipping works nicely. The thumb studs are really nice. I like the look of these thumb studs. They're really cool. What else? Overall feel, opening, closing. If the thumb studs open in deployment is nice. I like that. The flipping is nice. If you're not looking for single hand drop shut action, I mean, this works really well. But if you like to fidget and have that drop shut action, it's definitely going to catch your fingers. Definitely going to catch you. So you're going to have to kind of either, you know, do that, or you got to be one of these guys that pushes it and closes it like that. You know, and to me, that's fine. Some people are like, that's the only way I open and close my knife. That's, you know, we have no reason to drop, and you know, that's fine. Do whatever you want. If that makes you happy, fine. Be happy. What makes me happy is to be able to drop shut a knife like that. If I can't, I'm not happy. So like even with this one right here, right? I like to be able to drop shut a knife like this, and I like to be able to have it closed. But on a frame lock, any frame lock that I have, even right here, here's my conic areas. I'll catch it on the flipper right there, right? And then I can let it drop shut. I like that. On my Proteon, I like to have a little choil there. I like to catch it like that and then drop it down like that. So, right, that's what brings me joy, right? I enjoy that. So this one right here is a little different. So I'm not, yeah, you know, it's okay, right? It's not my cup of tea. So overall feel, it's a nice knife. It's a well-made USA knife. I definitely see the quality. I can see that. Fidgetability, out of 10. The thumb studs work well, reverse and front, left and right handed, the flipping, all that stuff. I'm definitely going to give it a 7. A solid 7 on fidgetability, right? This right here takes some points away. It could have been an 8, but this frame lock right here, this bolstered frame lock, is a little difficult to get to, and I always catch it with my big meaty fingers. I am guided to come up here, and every time I'm guided to come up here, my finger touches the base of almost the tang of the blade, right? So I immediately slow it down, and then this long flipper right here, because my hand's right here, I'm always catching this flipper. So I can't clear the flipper over here. It always catches even my finger here. So even here, it's still touching, right? It still catches. So I don't have that kind of free form drop. So that's unfortunate. So I'm going to give it a 7 because everything else is outstanding. So it's still a generous 7. What was my overall grade on this knife? Just for me, personally, this is a B-. I'm going to give it an 80. B-. It gets a B, barely. It's not a solid B. It's not just really good. It's almost good, right? For me, it's almost good. It's, yeah, If you have big meaty paws, this is not the one to get. I'm told some of the other ones, they do look like they might be a little friendlier for bigger hands. So that's definitely worth considering. If you're longer, skinnier fingers, this might be the knife for you. So just keep that in mind. Is it recommended? All right. If you like a knife and this fits your hands, sure. But I will say, my caveat is, for me, no, this is not recommended for me. I'm not going to personally recommend this knife. It's cool. It's a great design. It's well made. It's just not my aesthetic. It's not my ergos. It's not my cup of tea. I'd love to check one of the other ones out, another Hypercut knife that might see if it's any friendlier. But this one itself is not. I think if you love it, you like it, it's a great quality knife. You can't go wrong if it fits your hands well. Like I said, if you got skinnier fingers and not big old meaty paws like me, it'll probably be a fantastic knife for you. I think you'll love it. But for me, I can't recommend it. I don't recommend against it. I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it's a terrible knife. It just doesn't work for my ergonomics. That's why I don't recommend it, okay? I'm trying to think of the intended audience for this one. And for me, then I would be the intended audience of something like this. You know, I would be the person that would be looking to shop to buy something like this. This is not meant for really small hands. It's not meant for gigantic hands. It's not meant for someone in combat wearing gloves. I mean, this is meant for someone like me, a knife enthusiast. And this particular knife, for my ergonomics, I can't recommend it. Okay, so I will actually not recommend this knife. I don't recommend against it, like I said, but if you love a knife, buy it. I would love to try one of the other ones. I'm going to see, there might be another subscriber who might have another version of this that I might get a chance to check out and see if you know, the quality is outstanding. I will tell you that. Quality is just phenomenal. It really is. It's just, this ergonomic design is just not quite working for me. So I'd love to see that if that's the case, right? Because I think this guy who manufactures, he's making great stuff. He really is. It's just not my cup of tea. And you know, we are in this mid-tech custom area, so you know, but you can pre-order. It's still available. You can make orders for these. So you know, I'm gonna be fair from my perspective. If you can relate to my ergonomics, my hands and everything, that's where I stand. All right. So I take that with a caveat. I mean, I have nothing really super negative to say about it. As far as quality, build, and everything like that, it's just ergonomics don't work for me. But it's a really nice knife. I won't lie to you. It's a really nice knife. And I think if your ergonomics work for this one, it'll be great. All right. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button down below? If you've already subscribing and liking the channels really helps me out. Allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you to everyone who watches, who enjoys the content, who subscribes, who watches the live stream, who is part of the community. Thank you. Really, thank you. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, hit that notification button down below so you can be notified of future content like this video. And a big shout out, thank you to all my channel members out there. I sure do appreciate you. Thank you for supporting this channel. You encouraged me during times when I needed it. And then also your support really allows me to do things a lot sooner than I ever thought I could. Like check out knives like this, because this is expensive to ship something back. I've got to insure this puppy for like, I don't know, I'm guessing $650, $850, whatever dollars. So that's going to cost some money, right? And thanks to you subscribers out there, you members, channel members, you really, really help with that. So thank you. I appreciate that. And as a small way for me to say thank you to your generosity, I do 2 exclusive things for channel members. I do a once-a-month members exclusive giveaway. Typically every week I do a kind of a budget banger kind of giveaway, but for members I do something a little more exclusive, a little nicer. So for that, thank you. As you're being generous to me, I want to be generous back to you. So just keep an eye out for that. The other thing is I like to give all channel members who've never gotten one, who are currently channel members, you've never gotten a channel member sticker, I'd like to mail you a channel member sticker, a little thank you note. It's my way just to kind of personally say thank you to you. If that's you, you're currently a channel member, you became a brand new channel member, you were a channel member before and became a channel member again, you're all currently channel member now, you've never gotten a channel member sticker, email me with your name and address. I'd love to mail you a channel member sticker and a little thank you note. Hey, everybody else, I appreciate everyone out there. Whether you're a member, a subscriber, just a viewer, a watcher, enjoy the content, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I really do. And if you haven't already, check me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Oh, and before I leave, let's do a little close-up here real quick, because you do want to probably see a close-up of this knife. I didn't do that. We did take it apart. Here's the hollow grind with the swedge on top. Here we got the handle. Sorry about that. We'll try to see if we can cut that back in. There's the nice kind of contoured inlays right there, T8s, T15 there. We go over here, the clip, nice mill clip, does have a little flexibility, nice ramp going in and out. Roundness, it's not super sharp. Here we've got even the little cutout on the lock bar, kind of covered. This is a frame lock, bolstered frame lock. You've got the little T15 here, beautiful thumb studs over here. That beautiful hollow grind with the faux wedge up there, Magnacut. Over here, now this was added by the particular owner. He put a little flipper thing, whatever here, whatever. And then you have the back spacer back here. You've got some nice relief going on in there. The relief is really here with these inlays. And these inlays, I believe they're done so you can have different types of inlays he wants to do. Thumb studs are really nice on top, really nice, clean. It's got some jimping. The jimping's not super aggressive. It works. It's okay. It's not great jimping. It's not really functional. When you close this, oh, by the way, the lockup engagement, we're about 10%. If you look at that, 10% down there, right? And when you close it, here's the jimping on the flipper. It works really well. Does flip well, nicely, right? You can do the knuckle flip and everything, and then the thumb studs work really well for flipping as well. And this channel right here leads you right into that. So nice. All right, let's zoom in here. Here we are on the scale itself. Nice view. What do you think about that? There you go. Let's look at the back. Nice view here as well. All right, very cool, very cool. All right, so I probably edited this and coming back to this. So hey, if you found this content, oh, sorry, if you found this content, I probably edited this and came back to this. If you haven't already, check me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives on Instagram. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, a great week. Bye.